Opening night. We've been talking about this since March.
Yeah, we have 72 days of racing, 9 a day, and all at night, except Jeff Ruby Day.
And 12 horses a race.
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, scratches. I think the shortest field tonight is 10, certainly some 12, some 11, and maybe most importantly to the audience, big payouts.
Absolutely. Yeah, with these big fields, we'll allow for a scratch or two.
Right, yeah, no problem there. The vets have been judicious. Safety a primary concern, but of course Tapeta, one of the safer surfaces as well. So any reason people would want to support a meet, Turfway seems to check that box.
There's always a reason for a scratch here and there. Even you and I showing up sometimes,
or not showing
up.
Yeah,
but awesome to be here. And then we were talking about and writing about the field size last year of 9.8. So my first prediction will be, I think we're going to take the over on the field size from last year.
Seems that way. Certainly in December.
Yeah.
There's always the exodus as Oaklawn opens up and Sam Houston and Gulfstream and whatever else. But I would say for these first few weeks, it's going to be 10 plus.
Yeah, and that's a good point. If you've got a horse in Kentucky or nearby, you're thinking about going to Fairgrounds or Oaklawn or Gulfstream for the winter, why not try it on synthetic? Purses are great, and if you've got a horse that can run on synthetic, then you've got you can have a really good winner.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll look into it more as Oaklawn and Fairgrounds and Turfway progresses. But just depending on what you're looking for in the condition book or surface wise, as you said, if you're in Kentucky, maybe you get another race in at Turfway before going back to turf or dirt, or maybe you find out you're a synthetic horse and stick around. And not only a lucrative overnight program, but you mentioned the Jeff Ruby Stakes, plenty of 3-year-old action on the road to the Oaks and Derby as well.
All right, so let's talk about these stats that I wrote about. I guess was it back yesterday, but just amazing. If you hadn't seen these, you want to make sure you see these. That just first or second in pretty much every payoff, fifth into the pick 5, but what this is saying is number 1 pick 3 payoff in the country, number 1 pick 4 payoff in the country, number 1 superfecta payoff in the country right here at Turfway Park. So how can you not get excited about playing races like that?
Yeah, I think it illustrates too the importance of race and wager selection, and that's important no matter where you play, of course. But at Turfway, you just see how many opportunities there are, and there's no sense forcing it because if you wait for the right race. And, I think some of the races tonight are very difficult, which is part of the fun.
Right.
But I'm certainly not looking to force it right off the rip. Definitely want to pick my spots and build some confidence as well because it's a longer meet than ever, 72 days, as you noted, 4 days a week. But, Joe Christopher says it best. If you get it right, you're going to get paid, and that's true. Pretty much Turfway and Kentucky Downs are the 2 tracks you can count on that.
Yeah. So, all right. So we've got just a few minutes before the races start. What do you look at for Turfway when that's obviously it's different than a regular track?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking for a race where I feel most confident that I can be narrow and not necessarily the 4 to 5 Wesley Ward, although sometimes that's nice too if you have some 20 to 1s to put around it. But there's just so many races night to night for me where I'm 5 or 6 deep and not comfortable that I'm going to get out of the race. And that can be true anywhere. But Turfway, I'll go 5 deep at Keeneland. And if I'm that deep in a race, I really feel like, I got this race covered. And sometimes you're still wrong. But at Turfway, you go that deep and you still know I can get beat here. So to me, that race where you can be narrow, maybe even too deep sometimes, but to me, just the confidence level. And what I've learned through the years, especially as Turfway's gotten more competitive, is it's okay to pass if you don't have that situation. And, too many times, you're trying to go 4 by 4 by 4, which is never ideal. Not never, but generally not always ideal. But you're doing it because you think, if I get it, it's going to pay out well. And then you're whiffing without a strong opinion. So for me, that's it. It's like, okay, do I have a race where I feel good about? Tonight I do, race 8. So unfortunately not in the early pick 5, but that's definitely my strongest opinion tonight.
Yeah, there's some doozies tonight and some fun races to really get into. Thought race 8 was one of those. No, absolutely. And I think it's the same way. The other thing, looking back last year, also did really well in pick 4s. And, the pick 5s can pay ginormous. But you can also skip a race that you don't like, or maybe you missed the first leg. And in a pick four, you can go a little tighter. So instead of going 4 or 5 in that first leg, maybe you play the pick four for $1 or $2. And, if you can really clobber some of the pick fours as well, or pick threes. So there's a lot of different ways to make money.
I think a lot of tracks we've seen the 50-cent pick three really get diluted.
Yeah.
And, sharp bettors can slice and dice it. If Turfway, we know it pays well. It's among the top payouts in the country for the pick three. And I think because the reputation of, people spread, these are so competitive races, you can use half the field. And sometimes I do, and I know, some friends of yours that you chat with about playing Turfway, it is gambling. And if you think the overlays are too deep, even though you can get beat by others, if you're willing to do that 2x2x1 for $20 instead of, would that be 4x4x4 for 80?
Yeah.
It's 2x2x1 and gamble a little bit. But the way you can blow up your payoff with the overlays at Turfway really is second to none.
Well, there was a race last year, and where we had a Sire move horse that was 80-1, and it was literally like, we call it like the peg leg, where it's like in the late part of the early, but it's also in the late. And I think I used the horse as a B in the pick 5, and this was about race 4 or 5, and so I was out of the pick 5. Got the 80-1 shot, didn't mean anything. Used it in the pick 5, in the late pick 5, as an A horse, and even singled it on just like a crazy, like, oh, I'm just gonna spend like $30-$40, for 50 cents if this 80-1 shot wins. It wins, and I was out the next race. I mean, that's how bad it is. So it's tough. It's
and no win
tough.
money?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, that was brutal.
That's the league, But had you connected?
Had it connected. But a couple other guys connected. There were some great stories and some great wins. So it was their day, and that was amazing.
No, I mean, to me, Turfway is almost elevated to like a Breeders' Cup type day where there's just that type of opportunity. I wish I could say I had a pathway to that in the early pick 5. I ended up punting. I'm not actually even playing the early pick 5. I just couldn't put something together that I was comfortable with. But I know you told me you are involved. So so we go on to the track for the opener. Curious what you thought about this first leg.
Yeah, I was. So I was kind of focusing on the 7 here as sort of a logical. Bill Morey second off a layoff. Geraldo Corrales is up, and it seems like the horse is well meant. Violence is a good sire for synthetic. I thought the favorite here was a play against. The 9's 5-2. He's probably going to come down from there, and Fashion King is by City of Light, who's a great synthetic route sire.
I saw that later.
So on our Sire moves report, and you referenced it in your play of the day. This is a horse that City of Light, I think he drops back from like 18% winners on a dirt sprint from his last race to maybe 8% here in a synth sprint. There's some City of Lights routers later on the card that I think are ones you definitely want to use. But so I thought this was kind of a place to kind of attack a little bit. I think the 3 is a little logical. He's 8-1.
Shap's top pick.
There you go. Young, Dumb, and Broke. Mike Tomlinson, good Kentucky trainer. So I think he's a horse that we're going to use. Another good synthetic sire. And then a bit of a price. I'm looking at the 13 for Jordan Blair. Enough already. He's a tap it. It's a horse I think is going to be, in a good tactical position. And, if the 9 doesn't run well on synthetic, I think then this race starts to open up a little bit. So I was kind of looking at the 7 and the 13 and the 3 as some possibles.
I like the 13 as well. I was, I guess, somewhat put off, although I did end up picking post 11 and 11 horse fields twice later on the card. But I did have a stat from last year's meet, 2022, 2023, 62 turn races with 11 horses, and the outside post didn't win any of them. And it never made the lead within the first 2 calls.
All right, say that again.
0 for 60.
Which
post 11
okay.
in 11 horse races.
Okay.
So outside post with 11 horses.
At what distance?
2 turn races.
2 turn.
So a mile and a quarter.
Okay.
Never made the lead in the first 2 calls.
Yeah.
only twice ever had a 1 in the running lines. There were 2 favorites. The median price was 20-1.
Okay.
So admittedly, not a lot of contenders from
Okay.
post 11, but the expected wins was 4 and was 0. So,
Okay.
Even over 60 races, you would expect a win,
Yes.
or in this case, 4 based on the odds. 0 for 60. All that said, I think the price is right that the 13 is in the mix here.
Well, yeah, and I would say at 6.5 and it's 6 furlong sprinting, I think the outside posts are decent. I mean, they're decent spots.
Yes. Yeah, the sprints were a little kinder, so for that reason also. But we have not met, or I'm not sure, did you mention the first-time starter who does have 4 stars?
No, I did not. Wesley Ward, Walt Rodriguez is up. It just seemed kind of lukewarm. He's starting in a maiden claimer. The board's pretty chilly at 5-1. So, I think this is one where kind of looking elsewhere. If I miss, then kind of reload in the next race.
Generally, 4 stars are almost always auto uses, especially if they're not the favorite. Turfway, however, last December and late November, so the early part of the meet, the only debut winners were 5-star.
Really?
So anything 1, 2, 3, or 4-star, and I'm speaking of our first-time power ratings that Horse Racing Nation does, winless. And the only winners at all of debut runners was there were 3 5-star winners. So,
interesting.
That to me, and granted, now we're looking at 5-1. So to me, that's like a 4-star Wesley, connections that can win first out. But I would say our biggest. I mean, I know you, and part of the reason I did not want to play this, I actually do like the favorite here, number 9, Fashion King.
Here's your grid. I've got your grid up.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Okay.
I did have as a lone A, but at the price, I just didn't feel like it was one to lean on.
Yeah.
So I might look vertically, and I have 12 and 13 in the B column, both generous prices. So maybe there's an exacta to be had here based on what I think, but I just didn't want to single the chalk in this spot.
Yeah, I got a bomber for the super here for you.
Okay.
How about the 1 at 46-1? Because the rail's good, right?
How about it? Yeah,
we know that. So got to
Who
get
is Daisy Olivio?
I don't know. That's a new one to me.
I guess this is her only horse. 3 starts this year, and this horse has 3 starts.
Anything? So anything for the double, or you've got the 1 and the 8 in the next?
Yeah, I have the 1 and the 8 in the next.
And I was 8-11 in the next, so similar.
Okay, and 11 is a B. Yeah, I thought various things I look at. It was very can't think of the word. Like some things I looked at. Oh, the ones that stand out. Others were the 8. Like there was no crossover where it could be either way. So ended up using both. I'm eager to see what the price are. Do we have double row pays or anything?
Yeah, I can pull them up. I don't know if I've got them on. I'll get them on screen, but we can talk about them. It looks like, let's see, favored the 9-5 is a favored double. So
5. Wow, I don't love the 5 in the next. So.
Crispy Rice for Ryan Walsh. Luan Machado up.
I saw some love for. We have a synthetic jockey thing, which that was next. Yeah, real quick. I'm sure we'll talk about it. And this is all synthetic races. But I thought it was interesting. Ramos is on there, who primarily rides at Horseshoe Indianapolis.
This is all of North America.
This is all of North America. So,
Okay.
Some names that aren't even going to be at Turfway, but Ramos with good numbers, and his numbers at Turfway on turf are off the chart. So, conventional wisdom a lot of times is, turf and synthetic may play similarly.
Yeah.
I was definitely, I don't want to say surprised because he's a good rider. So like his name makes sense to be there, but that he was that high up when he's so known for Horseshoe Indianapolis. And I did not associate Ramos's name with Turfway last year at all. Corrales and Rodriguez were kind of the 2 big ones, and then DeRosa won his share, et cetera. But I thought that was interesting. Now he's on the favorite here, but that was part of the reason like this one kind of stuck out to me. And then, as we noted, I do like him in race 8 as well on number 5. So he's a jockey I'm eager to see how he does.
Yeah.
I saw some chatter throughout the Churchill meeting that maybe the shine is off Walter since he lost the bug. So I'm eager to see how he does this meet without the
yeah, definitely. There's kind of my grid for the pick 5. Oh, it's cutting our heads off a little. Yeah, I was looking at the 7 and the 13 here, and then the same. We're on the 8 in the second. Some of the picks. So another bet for the over, I would say, is the pick 5 pools. I think are going to be potentially.
Yeah, what was the
over.
average? I'm sure at 150 now, so this will probably hit 2.
I have to go back to the article. Let's see.
It should be in. Oh, is that not in the?
That is our average payouts. That does not have the pool.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's go. Take the race off for the moment because most people are probably watching the race, hopefully. And
they are going in the gate.
Good luck if you're getting down on the first at Turfway. Can't believe we're finally here. And yeah, I want to get a quick superfecta in if I've got time, but I don't know.
And Tony Callow on the mic. Welcome. She did some filling in last year.
Yeah.
From Finger Lakes, but now the permanent announcer for the Turfway meeting. And I do like playing Finger. I'm not a regular player, admittedly, but they are a daytime track that has pick 5 carryovers during the week. So certainly familiar with Tony's calls through there.
Give him the finger.
Give him the finger.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like playing Finger Lakes. It's a fun track. You kind of have to be aware, I think, a little bit of the biases of sometimes it plays a little inside or a little outside. All right, we're off at the first of Turfway, and we need Travis here to call it for us. 24-1 Mining Camp on the lead. And I guess we're probably on a 5-second delay, maybe not quite that.
Yeah,
people are watching us.
ExpressBet, I think, which we have the stream up.
No, anybody watching our stream.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's live to us.
Live.
But
or is it Memorex?
Yeah. Well, this 9 is getting a dream trip here at 7 to 5, just kind of sitting right off of things, but we'll see. Oh, wow. A little leg weary, but it doesn't look like there's a ton coming.
Still has to put
Good
away
Lord. Put away the 5. He's not sure about that.
Yeah.
Is this my 13? This would be great. I'd love my 13 here. And there we go.
Oh, we got it.
Off to a good start.
How about that? Who was on the 13?
13 was Edgar Morales for Jordan Blair. Yeah.
A Furious Rush.
Furious Rush, 8-1. And I mean, not to toot our own horns, but that is a good negative Sire move. 7 to 5, no excuse.
No excuse.
And our Sire moves report on Horse Racing Nation had that as a very negative move for the 9.
Now, I would say he was, I mean, I guess you might even say third best if you think the 5 setting the pace made that one better. This is going to be a good try if you had it. But
no 5 for me.
I mean, it's 7 to, like, I mean, I picked the horse. It's 7 to 5, though. That's tough. One thing I will point out from that race, though, is half the field did very little running.
Yes.
And that is, to me, part of, that it can be frustrating if you bet one of those horses, I'm sure we will as the night goes on, let alone the meet. But Emily Gullickson talked about this. There's a lot of emphasis put on picking winners, and, we all get why.
Yeah.
But being able to eliminate horses that you think are in a position to run like half the field did here is pretty powerful. And if for whatever reason you didn't have the 5 among that group that would do no running, and agreed with the board basically that the 9 and 13 were in the mix, like that's a score. And I mean, even that super is going to pay tremendous. Yeah,
that was tough waters for the super. I just played around with the 1 real quickly. And one of my favorite ways to play supers. Not a lot of people ignore them, or certainly some people box them, which you should never do. But kind of one tip: I love to play closers in the superfecta because a lot of times a horse, what people don't, a lot of times bettors forget, a horse that's 30-1 to win. It's not really 30-1 to run fourth,
right?
And especially if you have a hot pace, you have a closer. And I always say, if you have let's say you have a 10-horse race, well, closers aren't going to finish 10th. They generally run at the end. And a lot of times they're going to run 4th, 5th, or 6th. And so a 30, 40 to 1 shot that's going to run at the end can sometimes run up. And you don't need to play them in first or second because they don't have a shot. Sometimes for, flip them in third or what have you. But it's a nice way. And last year I picked up some nice superfectas at Turfway doing that. There's a couple coming up later in the card that I want to point out, but
and especially if you like or understand why a horse is, let's say, just even money, which is 50-50. Well, once they're in the win spot, and if you bequeath them that's 50% of the pool gone.
Yes.
So even at 30-1 and fourth, I mean, now all of a sudden they're what are they with 50% of the pool left?
Yeah.
And really after takeout, it's 41% or whatever it is at Turfway. So great point. But also, if you, I think the reverse can sometimes be true too. Like the 5, who I know Timeform US had, based on the projector, it was 9.5, but that is the way they ran.
Mm-hmm.
But if you thought, oh man, this horse can just lope along and hang on for a piece, he was a big price too.
Yeah, he was. Gio Ponte. Well, there really wasn't a lot of speed in there, but I just, I think that's where the 9 kind of fell on his face a little bit at 7-5. Thought that I was saying, it looked like a dream trip, mid race, and then certainly kind of collapsed there.
And the first 2 didn't show up, and then the other horse,
that's right.
And the 9 did end up being a comfortable favorite, but early on. Gabby's on Holiday, number 7, opened as the favorite, which, early money, whatever that means nowadays with so much coming in late, but did go off as a second choice and not sure got a call. And that was one of those I did not have in my mix, especially at that price.
Yeah.
I'm personally a little disappointed I didn't get involved vertically there because those are my A's and B's, so maybe a missed opportunity. I just couldn't get past the 9 being so short. It just kind of made me nervous of what to do with that. So
no, I agree.
You're live.
I agree
for sure, though.
I'm
see what this pick 4 holds.
Well, and then did you see the pool? The pool was it 285?
Oh, all right.
So 284. So we're definitely going over on the pools. I mean, that's.
Did we ever see what the average is?
Let me pull it up here.
One of these, I thought.
Got it in the article. And if there you go. Oh, can you? Yeah, you can cue that up as well. So the average pool. Put it in the bottom of the Turfway. 157,000 is the average.
Way over.
Yeah. So if you hadn't had a chance to check it out, it's just kind of a fun article wrote yesterday that Turfway Park's the A track for payouts. And I think that's right? I mean, I think that's indisputable. Maybe Kentucky Downs, but it's 7 days versus 72. I don't think you can really compare the two. They're different in a lot of different ways, but
they do have one thing. Well, two. I would say 2 things in common.
What's that?
They're both in Kentucky, and they both only have one surface.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, focus. So one thing we should probably talk about.
I'm not gonna. We won't mention names. We'll keep it positive. But I saw some chatter today among other tracks running. Someone posted some will pays of 50-cent pick 3s that were in the single digits, and that's just not something that's ever going to happen at Turfway.
Oh no,
ever. I mean, you might have an odds-on win, but 3 in a row just is.
I mean,
would be unheard of.
I think you kind of hit on it, which is like this is like a Breeders' Cup type card every day, every night. Now, I would put an asterisk to say that if you can handle the synth, if you have a grasp on what's going on, right? If you don't, it's super tough. I mean, look at these superfectas, $4,800. Oh, that's for $2. Okay. What the other prices? So.
Now I will say that exacta feels a little light to me in a 11. Is this 11 horse, 12 horse field? 24-1. I guess that's okay.
So yeah, okay. So the dime, $1 super 2,400, 243 for a dime. Yeah, those payouts. I would say the 5 was really tough. So yeah, those payouts. But the 9, I think people are probably keying that first and second.
That was. But Horseshoe Indianapolis jockeys showing up 1-2.
There you go.
Corey Orm, we don't hear a lot of in Kentucky until this time of year, but. And I believe Matilda, an apprentice, ran it at Indianapolis this summer as well. So
yeah,
getting their reps in. Which they have good field sizes up there too.
Oh yeah, Indy was great betting.
Absolutely. That's actually I didn't think to run that. Maybe for tomorrow's stream we'll be able to do some numbers. But I have thought that there probably is something to certain jockeys being better in full field situations, and then even some are probably better in shorter fields in terms of pace or however that gets dictated. But yeah, with the 10+ fields, like to me that, like if I were looking at jockey stats and wanted to the colony at Turfway, to me that's a piece of it. I don't care what they've done in 5-horse fields. They're not going to maybe a stakes race they might see one of those.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's different, and especially these kind of mid-level tracks, right? Because you've got these jockeys of different quality, different experience. Some of these jocks have ridden for 20 years or periods, even more. And then you've got some bugs, and you've got a synthetic track that, frankly, nobody, unless you're at Presque Isle, you weren't practicing on or riding on the last 2 months, right? So, right. And then you've got the cold. So there's a lot of just different factors, and I think it makes for a really interesting handicapping challenge. And some handicappers I know way better than I am about really understanding the jockey tendencies, because some of them like to do their pet things. They like to always take back, or they like to always send. And to the extent that you can incorporate that in your handicapping, that helps. And I think the best riders will ride situational, depending on how things shake out and what the.
And seeing this replay, I cannot believe the 9 got beat.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was pretty poor performance. Ultimately, did you get the split? Did you see what the half was?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Is there? Can you change that to HD? Someone in the chat mentioned how distorted it is.
I could try. It's probably distorting it to fit into the size. So let's see. Maybe we'll go HD on ourselves and then figure it out. Maybe if I go full screen.
I mean, you're on the SD tab.
Oh, all right. See, I'm always trying to get something just quick, and yeah, that's a good idea. All right, let's see if that improves things. All right, where am I going? Oh, share screen. Yeah, by all means, if anybody has comments, questions, anything we want to talk about, just jump right in the chat.
Yeah,
and
let us know.
That looks a little better to us, but it's a little hard to tell.
Yeah. I mean, they're seeing a copy of a copy, but
copy of a copy. So here, I wanted to pull up the Sire stats just so people know what we're talking about a little bit here. So here's the Horse Racing Nation Sire analytics for race 2. And so this is sort of the getting into the details of the Sire stats for every horse in every race. And when we talk about our Sire Moves report, which we'll pull up a little bit, it's looking at the references between the last race and this race. So any horse, so if we look at the one, Blame It on Paris, Blame over the Sire Blame, 207 starters on a synthetic sprint. They've won over 17%. And then the HRN Impact, meaning how many races, according to their odds, should they have won, they're actually plus 12%. So they actually outperform their odds even a little bit from there. So that's, a really nice number compared to, let's say, the two right behind it, Beau Arts, 4-1 horse, Sire Mastery is only getting 8.8% winners. And then I lean a lot on that impact number. So the impact of minus 25, what that tells me is when horses by Mastery switch to synthetic sprint, they are disappointing. Maybe they can win, right? Because 8.8% is still not nothing, but they're disappointing the bettors, or they're disappointing their connections a little bit. So you're getting 6 to 1s that run like 9 to 1s, kind of thing. You're getting a little bit of haircut on the performance. And so, and then what the Sire Moves report does is it looks at that win percentage from what surface they were on and distance last race compared to today. And so the Sire Moves report gives you any of the horses that are plus or minus 3% in terms of the pedigree move or Sire move.
Season opener goes to Jordan Blair, Edgar Morales,
and Geisha Suave.
Yeah, let's not even try to say that.
It's my top pick. But Bala Bali 9%, just okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I were looking at just, I'm a brisnet guy, which they have the percentages, and I saw 9%, like that certainly wouldn't be a turnoff, but I wouldn't be like, oh, wow, 9%, great. But seeing it's actually a positive impact, that horse his progeny been in spots maybe, ambitiously placed or whatever. So yeah, that impact is so key and tells so much more of the story than just the straight win percentage. And, I do think they complement each other. Occasionally you'll see a horse who can, buy a sire who throws 20% or plus in a certain situation. And to me, even if that's a negative impact, like if they're 20% plus, they clearly can handle that situation.
Yeah.
But, in the single digits, when you see positive or negative, that to me is where it really clues you in on, more of the story.
Yeah. And so let's see if this works. I want to share, if that's big enough. That's the first race. So, the first race, so the winner was by Tappet, 11% synthetic sprints, minus 33% impact. So, maybe not always the best surface, but just kind of like you referenced on the Bali, the 8, which we both picked in this race. You don't want to use this to jump off a horse completely, especially, at around a 10% win percentage. It's just something to be
or at an okay price, but
that's right.
Fashion King, man, 5.6%. Now, granted, only 18 starts, so that's probably going to creep up.
Right.
City of Light, too good a sire that I would think in any category.
But look at that, minus 68%.
I mean, that was the case here. He was bet down to 7 to 5, and you could say he ran a winning race, and I know that's always part of it when you're dealing with percentages. And you and I have talked about this. Is it's like, okay, win percentage. Well, what if they got beat a nose? Like that's not, or
right.
Or maiden races where you run 100 and still get beat. Like that's a winning race. So there's all that in it too. But to me, when you're talking about 7 to 5 against 11 others, it's just.
So what's kind of fun with our data is we could go back and we can flip it to the dirt. So if we go to the last race and the horse was coming off a dirt race. So it was a negative sire move for the 13 as well. I'm not sure if he was actually coming off a dirt sprint now that I say that, but you can see that Tappets definitely do better dirt sprinting.
Yeah, but impact wise, it's still negative. So
just slightly negative. And then so let's go to race 3, just see if there's a couple we can find in here. So a lot of races like race 3, very strong, pretty much top and bottom. There's a little bit down on the honor code. The 9, I think a lot of people like Ice Time. This kind of turned me off a little bit. I don't really like playing keen ice horses doing a synthetic route. And then, you can see the 12, 6% against the rest of these doesn't really stack up very well.
and this is race 3, right?
Yes.
Now that's a
And that's
12
the
horse field, not 11, but still outside post, and only sit like things are conspiring against now when you're factoring a couple of those.
Yeah.
Intangibles on paper, but today they're actually tangible because they have that post or that Sire stat.
Right. And we should probably show the Sire moves report.
I do have. I cropped it so it wouldn't be the whole screen, but race 8.
I'll just go. We'll go whole screen here and see if it'll
there
work.
you go.
Go real big. Probably too many, but let's see if I can get it to fit. There we go.
All right.
So here's where we're talking about our Sire moves report. So you can see above Turfway, there's Tampa. So it's every race today, turf, and then there's a turf, dirt, synthetic, and then there's an off turf section. But if you look at the top, I'll scroll to the top here. Fashion King, the City Light we were talking about. Okay, so he was 16% down to 6%. So what that means, City Light, a 16% stallion for progeny running over dirt sprint, 6% over synthetic sprint, minus 68% in terms of the win percentage. And so that's where it's like, okay, well, how does that affect the speed figure? How does it affect the outcome? Well, I'm not exactly sure, but it's not good, right?
It's not good.
But they certainly can win. So race 2, it kind of fits in here. There's no Sire move on the 8 directly from the last race, but because these couple that are pointed out, the 10, I think the 10 scratched, right? 10 scratched. The 3, so here's a small move. Last time was turf route wet, 12%, hard spun, 16%. So it's positive, not a huge difference. I was turned off by the 6, long black veil, 14% Good Samaritan on a dirt sprint, and then 5% in this spot, and a big negative 53%.
I would say at 19-1.
You're still on.
I'm turned on.
All right. All right, and then
I think the price is right.
Let's scroll and see if there's any other big blaring positive. There weren't a ton of blaring positives today. I thought some of these have not a lot of data. So the 2 Thalberg in race 4, the Sire's 0 for 5 in a synthetic route. So I probably can't take a whole lot from that. Some of these are long shots. The 11 in race 5, the Vino Rosso, kind of same thing, going from 7% to 22%. So that's a really nice move, but the 22% is only 2 for 9. But it was positive impact more
and the
than
7% is only 1 for 14.
That's true.
So
yeah, maybe that's right. Maybe he's just good at everything and needs time to shake out.
Temple City was.
Temple City.
That was a big move.
Thought this race 7 in Documentado is interesting. Now this horse has run in synthetic, so when you scroll back in the PPs, I think he had run in synthetic and they weren't that great. So, but now it seems like he's running better. It's a better horse. So you see this kind of jump and say, okay, well, I can see that he wasn't good on synthetic in the past. So is that the horse that shows up? Or you can see that there's a potential jump here. Is this the horse that shows up? Did any of these pop out to you?
I actually,
you talked about Say Cheese in the last.
Yeah, Say Cheese. I was between the 2 and 8,
Okay.
both 12-1, and this was actually what made me pick the 8. Now, if Golden Storm is 12-1, that's not a terrible price, but in terms of there's some promos out there. Won't say where, but a lot of ADWs do bet backs and things like that. So there's a win bet promo. So I wanted a win bet for every race, and this was the deciding factor for me.
It's a good one, yeah.
Pending, when we get to the race, if Say Cheese is, for whatever reason, 7-2, because Scott Shapiro also picked him, and Golden Storm is 15-1, and they're that separate. I still might talk myself into using Golden Storm despite, the Golden Sense, which 15-10 isn't that awful. It's more the impact that really caught my eye, but clearly Say Cheese, as we noted with the synth route and City of Light, that's a positive. So would love to, even get, I would say 6-1 I'd be fine with.
Yeah, there's not a lot of speed in that last race, and between the 9 I think went to the lead once on turf. Other than that,
and we talk about firsters not doing well, and there's a few in there.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to say, man, they don't win unless HRN says they're 5 stars, and that's a cross out.
There you go. I forgot. I got to take that. I got to write that down. Only 5. So we have no 5 stars tonight.
No 5 stars.
So you're saying no firsters.
I did not pick any firsters.
Okay.
No.
I like it.
I don't think I even put any in the A column. You know what? What's the well, he wouldn't be on there. The 7, who was only 2 stars, but I thought I'm singled in race 8, and the 7 was kind of a horse in the nightcap. But I was like, I don't really want to let beat me.
Right. Dappled Lady from Mike Stidham and John Talamo's up.
That was
a tough one. Very steady works, going 5 furlongs, on the dirt and then on the synthetic. Stidham can win debuting on a synthetic route. So, you got some good comments coming in?
Yeah, the voice of Churchill Downs is enjoying the stream.
All right.
Appreciate him tuning in. A good mix of people. Someone he hasn't actually followed up. I don't know if this is any better now that we switched to HD. But people were definitely eager to see the horses on the track. So
let's throw up. Did we lose your grid? Where is your grid?
Yeah,
we hit the limit on our. All right. Well, I'll put my grid back up. So, this was kind of my early pick 5. So, I was looking at the 8.
I think I'm going to single the 12 in the pick 4.
Okay.
To close it out.
In race 5.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that 12. I had a couple people trying to talk me off it, and
Shaft doesn't have him among his top 4. I keep bringing him up, but he's an opinion that I respect, but B, his is just I wrote him down because we were talking about the card earlier today. So, not that that's going to dissuade me at all, but it does seem like, when you said some people trying to talk you off, that horse isn't going to be for everybody. But
you got to have opinions. I mean, you could.
I will say, like, we saw the winner of the opener come from off of it, and I hate making these like blanket thoughts of how the track's going to play based on one race. But the 2 horses who went out for a clear lead were clearly 2nd and 3rd. The 12 and 4th. So I like the trip, the 12 figures to get, and I'll feel even more confident if we see more of that as the night progresses.
Right. All right. It's interesting. We haven't seen that many 5 furlong races at Turfway, and it seemed like the inside is good. And then did we look at the speed factor, speed versus closers? It seems like 5 furlongs. I mean, it seems like you want to be forward, but I don't know.
I want to bet this pick 4.
Okay, you do that. I'm going to throw up the stats back here.
You need a bucket?
A bucket.
Said I'm going to throw up.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to throw up the stats.
Oh, the stats. Okay.
Yeah. No. You haven't annoyed me that much. Have I? No. All right. So I was looking at the 8 and 11 here. This is a tough race. The 1 and 2, I think, factor on the inside. The 5 is a consistent sort coming in from Presque Isle. It just seems like, again, 5's favored. I don't know. It just seems like an unexciting 3-1 on the 5 horse. So I was kind of lukewarm there.
And on the 8, Axel has come to us from the Midland. Definitely made it quite an impression. Final week at Churchill. He has the bug, so maybe he's the heir to Walter's stature at Turfway.
Okay.
he rides very aggressively. I think he's been suspended twice already as an apprentice.
Wow.
And one of those definitely got the boo birds out. But I mean, the way Turfway plays, like if you're willing to bump and grind a little bit for a spot, that's a difference maker for third or fourth. So he's definitely a jockey I'm eager to use when I like a horse. Now in this case, what's the price on him? 9-2.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the horse is logical, and coming off a Laurel turf sprint.
so neither you or I thought Utah Beach was a single, although you are in the A column with him. I demoted him to a B just because I thought he's going to be a horse a lot of people lean on.
Yeah.
And maybe there's an opportunity against. So
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, these are just such tough races. It just makes it fun, and there's just a lot of different ways to go with it. Yeah, I mean, the Utah Beach race is really tough. Race 4 is a doozy. Kind of like the 4 a little bit in race 4, maybe to kind of get out there. Although, like you said, we saw a closer win that race. So, but I think after one race, it's way too early to start, making predictions on how the track's playing. Let's see. Got a lot of different screens going. All right. 5 is coming down at 3-1, and they're in the gate. So you better punch it if you're going. All right.
I'm in.
You're in. You're down. And I guess we shouldn't. We won't show the race, but good luck, everybody, in the second at Turfway. And let's watch.
And the 8 was my win bet for the aforementioned.
Okay. Bonus.
Promo.
The promo. All right.
Full disclosure on that.
Yeah, I'm really curious how the track plays, right? So it's like, we'll see if it plays similar to the way it played it in the first. The 8's all the way in back.
Yeah. A little more bunched up this time, though, at least. That was a strung out affair in the opener.
Yeah. All right. You got 4, 11, 12.
I only used one of those.
Yeah, I've got the
I
11.
didn't use the 7 either.
I'm trying to think what I got here.
So 11's getting the same trip the 9 got in the opener.
That didn't work, although, yeah.
Yeah,
I cut the 12 at the end, so I hope he does not. Here comes 5's coming on the outside, and looks like the 5's got horse. Is he going to keep coming? Yeah, the 4's.
hit that 8 up the rail.
Oh, no.
Didn't
It
get
was the
there.
camera angle. The 5 was in the center of the track, going to the grandstand for a hot dog.
But he won.
Yeah. No, I mean, it looked closer on video than it was, and then
I think I won the gallop out.
there
When
you
I
go.
win bet. I did advance, but
Yeah, that's kind of
7-2.
bring the video back up.
Whoa.
That's the replay.
Probably wasn't what they were going for the ISO.
Yeah. So
He was so far outside though, he not even in the frame of the. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm glad I mentioned Axel because that was. I don't know how many jockeys that we're going to see night in and night out at Turfway would have made that move on the inside.
Yeah. All right, let's look at this photo one more time. So 5'8".
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it looked like 5'8".
And in this case, even though the two the exacto likely came from the back of the pack, and the 4 I guess faded at the end, maybe down to 4th. I mean, I didn't really think had much license to hold on that long the way they were coming. So, to me, maybe an opportunity, like I had pointed out earlier, you know, the closer certainly, like you said, for third or fourth. But man, if you like a price that you think can be prominent early, it could be worth the gamble that they hang on late. But before was not a horse I liked at all and would not have played that way. But you know, for those that did, Time Form did not have it in the pace, but Optics did. So, you know, depending on what you use to plot pace, certain ratings, whatever, you know, that could have been a path to using that horse to spice things up. As it is, I think we're going to get a second choice favorite exacta here. Yep, 5-8.
5-8. Okay. So you would rather have the 8, but the 5 will do.
I mean, I guess from a pick force, I mean they're the same in this size field, and I would have had the win bet. So I would have rather had the 8, but
that's kind of where it landed.
I tossed Utah Beach, so this was an example. This was a case of, even though I didn't love Crispy Rice and 7-2 12-horse field, but I just think if you survive this and beat Utah Beach, you know, you're so maybe in a spot.
Okay, so you were talking about Axel. What do you know about Summer Polly that she was on the 4-horse there that ran 4?
Oh, I know nothing about Summer Polly.
Okay. A triple bug. So triple bug is
she's fresh.
How many?
10
races?
10 pounds.
10 pounds. And then, what do you have to win or do to lose the triple bug? Can't remember. Maybe we should ask the audience. Somebody, certainly somebody knows. There's our first.
If Dougie Sal is listening, he would know for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and she rode well there. I mean, ran 4th on a 16-1 shot, got out, and you know, didn't overextend and had something left for the drive.
5 winners.
5 winners. Okay, so less than 5 winners.
Thank you, Google Labs, for.
Oh, all right. Apprentice weight allowance horse racing. Very good query. All right.
So 5 winners. I think there's a time situation there too.
Yeah, probably.
Like I don't think you can be 10 pounds if you've ridden
for your whole life.
But right.
So basically, what you're saying is that you would qualify for a 10-pound allowance, but not forever.
I'd still be. I think that'd be an overweight. But yeah, 10 pounds is 10 pounds.
Yeah, 10 less. Well, no, you'd be over, so it wouldn't matter. Doesn't matter if you're overweight.
When my first racetrack job was interning at Northfield, and one of the trainers got me in the jogging bike.
Yeah.
And he's like, you should, and that's one of my biggest regrets in life is that I did not pursue him willing to teach me how to drive.
All right. Yeah, that would be fun.
I think, it was fun jogging them and, just one of those, like.
It's never too late.
That's true.
You can do the drive up until what? You're 60?
Oh,
more?
At least. Walter Case is back.
Yeah. How old is he?
I think he's 62, 63. Really? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the horse is doing the work, right? I mean, most of it. Yeah.
Arm strength.
Yeah. Oh, we got a little.
Yeah, I would say driving is easier than being a jockey.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, that's
no disrespect, but yeah, I would say that.
I'm not exactly a harness racing expert, but so they're seated, but then they're driving with their arms.
They're driving, yeah.
Okay. They're driving, and then they can whip or try to get the horse to.
Yeah, I think I would say their whip is more for encouragement, whereas in racing it's correction and steering and
different things.
But
all right, let's look at these prices. $163 trifecta. There we go. Another $2,000 super for $1. That's healthy with the favorite two.
Yeah, I mean that's
favorites
me,
one too.
Compared to the first leg, first race.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Yeah, that's a great payoff. And all right, so now we roll into Utah Beach. That goes off at 4 to 5, even money.
Let's see what I will say I know other services offer this, but I am a bet mix backer, and now on they integrate their tote board in with Express Bet, and they have imputed odds, and he is 1.13 to 1, so even money 6 to 5.
Okay.
And from a percentage of pool standpoint, I would definitely expect he'll be even money.
Okay. Just want to go back to some of the stats here. So it's blocking us, but the top 15 tracks by win payoff. So Turfway second in the country behind Kentucky Downs. Not only second in field size, but second in the average win payoff. Pretty cool. And the only track in the country in North America where the favorites win less than 30%.
Wow.
Yeah, coming in at 29. And this is from January 1st this year. 2023 to date, which is
it's wild
it's
to see some of those that the favorites win so much, but the average win is still healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, like Colonial, 39%, LED 40%, Remington 40%. All right, so there's that. My pick 5 grid, I'm still alive, but I ate a B there with the 5 horse. Did not like that 5 horse. So like we said, this race will be about trying to beat Utah Beach.
It's my plan.
It's a good plan. I like it. Although, is it based on wishful thinking or?
I just thought he'd be the one everyone leaned on.
Yeah. So odds based.
Odds based for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not one of those where I'm like, oh man, I don't even like this horse.
Right.
I would say my fair would be 2-1.
Right.
So this is still a huge underlay.
Yeah.
But
so
even if I'm exactly right on 2-1, I'm going to lose a third of the time.
Right. So right now he's close to even money. He doesn't win this race 50% of the time.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I agree. No, there's some nice horses in here. There's some pace scenarios where I think he gets left behind a little bit, and there's a few ways that he can lose. I don't think this horse is proven to be, 3 seconds. So obviously can run. Never been on synthetic. May get a little further back. They got to run the race. So
yeah, I mean it is a mile and a quarter, which I won't say bred for. It's cliche I don't love, but I mean obviously that is unlikely to be an issue.
Yeah.
Given the breeding, but I'm generally not a fan of horses who debut going long throughout their career at a short price.
Okay, that's interesting.
Now, that doesn't mean I'm never going to play them, obviously.
Right.
But to me, when I look at a horse like Utah Beach at even money, and I look at the career trajectory, and I think, man, they needed to, this horse is a 3-year-old gelding that did not debut until August, and they thought he needed a mile and a 16th on the turf.
Right.
That just tells me, there's a certain lack of brilliance, and this isn't a claiming race. I mean, this is a healthy pot.
Yeah.
So, if we were talking obviously at 8-1, we'd all be gushing over him and like, oh, what a play. That's extreme. He's never going to be 8-1. But, at even money, and maybe he's maybe he's a synthetic horse. Maybe he's a mile and a quarter horse, and I end up looking foolish, but I'm willing to find out at this short of a price.
Yeah. No, exactly. It's a good chance to try to get around him. All right, I've got a spicy superfecta play for you.
Okay, spicy.
Yeah. Big price. The 11 at 47-1. And I don't think he's not going to get much of a shot here, but if you look at the board, so let's just say you give the win to the 2. The 7 horse is getting play. There's a couple other horses at 7, 8, and 9-1, 10-1. Maybe a couple of those fill out second and third. I think all of those horses are still extremely shaky. The 1, the 3, a little bit the 7, the 9, and the 10. So my thought is, with that group and the favorite, do they fill out the top 3 spots? I don't think this 11 is that far behind. His last race on the turf was good. He's trying to close at Indiana Downs on the turf, which is really tough to do. 4 wide, 5 wide, just completely lost here. And this is just one of those things where it doesn't. You could do a super for $1. You could go 2 with 5 horses. Key him in 4th for $20.
That's it. $20.
I'm saying for $1, yeah. For a dime, you could do it for $2.
My only issue is you didn't even mention the horse I picked on top.
Who's that?
Illegal.
Illegal's all right. Yeah, I don't dislike him. I was trying to like him, and I just couldn't quite get there.
I will say for me, it's a pretty pure sheets play.
Okay.
When I went through the race on paper, just for like he didn't stick out to me that much. Like I didn't think he was impossible by any means. But then, when I saw the figures, he fits, and being by gun runner, getting a mile and a quarter, and we'll find out about the synthetic, but certainly not concerned about the distance. So I'm pretty thrilled with 23-1, and I'm not going to read too much into a horse like that not taking action because he is in a new barn of a trainer I've never, or I shouldn't. The name looks a little familiar, but I'm not familiar with his work. And limited starts. It's just one of those like, man, given this horse's numbers and an intangible, 20+1.
Yeah,
which he's 12-1 on the line. But
I don't dislike him at all, and the price is great.
And Tiago had a rough. He's actually a very rare example of. I thought he had a really rough apprenticeship. Now, granted, a lot of that was at Churchill, so tougher colony. But I think he started out like 1 for 90, something like that.
Really.
And then he went to Belterra. I thought he did okay at Turfway last year as well. But got some confidence, won some races, and he's a guy that still doesn't get great mounts. Overall, he's usually a price at Turfway, but I found that he's in the mix and in the right spot more often than not. So Tiago is a guy I've come to not back away from on a price.
Yeah, for sure. And the gun runner, looking at the Sire stats, I mean, does just fine on synthetic routes. I thought this mile and a quarter race, these get a little goofy sometimes, and that's where I was kind of going with. I think this could go a couple different ways. The 7 could get out there if there's not that much speed. There's a couple horses that could kind of factor a little bit more out on the pace, and then let's see the 10. Yeah, the 3 and the 10 are closers. The 1's a closer, so it's just not a lot of pace. The time form US pace projector has the 2 on the lead. I don't know that that's really necessarily the case.
Time, 2.6, right?
Yeah.
I will say, well, my notation is time form. I just write basically down what the projector has. Among the pace setters, Optics did think that Utah Beach would be able to put away the 6. So
all right.
I didn't use the 6, so even though it was prominently featured early.
Right. And what do you know about Abel Cedillo?
Very little.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll have to pull up some jockey stats.
That as the meet goes on, will have impact for the leaders, but I mean, I can always look them up.
Right. Okay. And so let's see. Let's look at doubles in case we're talking about. Utah Beach is a tough favorite. 4th race was incredibly tough. I thought.
I thought it was the toughest race on the card.
Yeah, I've got 2-4 over 1, 6, and 11, but it's a tough race.
I have 311 over 169. And Chat picked the 2
Okay.
for whatever that's worth. He was 2-1-11-3.
All right, and then let's look at why don't we talk about these first timers in race 5, since we've got the first timer report.
Yeah.
Just pull up the graphics.
Which Citio is it? Abel?
Yeah. Actually, let me pull up the full report. All right, here we go. I probably shouldn't have done that. That probably knocked our audio out.
But
All
we're
right.
back, I think.
We're back. All right. So there's my rookie engineering.
The 1s and 2s.
Yeah. So we were talking about first time and second
Should
time.
we just start over with race 1?
Yeah. No, we're
love
live.
the 13.
We're live.
Oh, all right.
No, I think it was just when I wanted to go full screen on here. So
Yeah.
I think people could see that we were talking about, that would do it. All right. The first time, our first time power ratings, 1 star through 5 stars. in race 5, the 6 for Brendan Walsh, I think is interesting. 8% first time at Turfway. Okay, that's not too great, but he is 1 for 5. A synthetic route debut at Turfway. The Sire stats are okay, or decent with Cairo Prince. Good, jockey stats. So there's some things to like here. I don't know. I couldn't toss this horse, so I kind of used him as like my third A or like a B horse. Did you use him at all? You said you didn't use the first
I singled the 12. I do have him as a B on the grid, so we'll see what the late pick 5 holds, because I do have a race I'm comfortable really leaning on. But yes, similarly, I mean, Brendan Walsh especially, I mean, he's just a trainer. If he has the horse ready to roll, you're gonna get the race. So for that reason, and 3-star is okay. It's not like they don't win.
Right.
So yeah, I had the slot as a B. For the early pick 4 that just started, with that 6-1 morning line on the 12, I just felt like, man, if I can get there, I'm going to get the right. I'm going to be compensated for taking a shot, past Utah Beach. And that was just the way,
So that's the Jonathan Thomas, the 12 in race 5. And what did you like about him in particular?
Well, I definitely like the forwardly plays. Like, I definitely expect that horse in a maiden race to possibly be able to take it to him. Now it is a mile, and has that potentially dreaded outside post. Tyler Connor has really good numbers, this year. So that sort of caught my eye that Jonathan Thomas was, willing to put him up, because Thomas, I thought, had a good meet last year and probably is going to have his pick of jockeys more often than not. So that kind of stuck out to me. Now, I know earlier I said I don't love horses that route starting out, and the debut was a mile, but it was a Kentucky Downs, and that's a 1-turn mile. And, to me, there's some confidence that they went for $150,000 pot against a really, typically competitive group.
Right.
There were 12 entered in there, and he went off at 12-1, so wasn't completely dismissed. So it was just one of those. I'm trying to get. I definitely have spent way too much of my life betting, thinking that the single has to be the most likely winner in the sequence.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And that's just not. That's just a way that it's negative EV in the long run. But it took me a long time to realize that, and to put it into practice. Not every day you're gonna. But to me, this is kind of the opportunity at 6-1, and a custom stable. Which now in this case, the horse was at Kentucky Downs, then Woodbine. But someone asked about shippers on social media, and Augustin very active in the Mid-Atlantic, because they have a barn, or it certainly did in the past, at Fairhill.
Right.
And Laurel and Delaware are 2 tracks that had very good numbers shipping to Turfway for the early part of the meet. Now, again, this horse doesn't check that box specifically, but when I see that owner, I think, well, those are the type of horses that probably were at Laurel and Delaware and shipped to Turfway. So, admittedly anecdotal, but that was something that just sort of clicked. Wait a minute. But yeah, I think the horse is going to be lower than 6-1. Blinkers on. There's a lot going on here that just thought, okay, if I can get to this horse, and I would have loved to get to him in the pick 5. I probably would have had to spend $200 at least to be comfortable with, and at that point, that's a win bet, and no guarantee I'm even going to survive. And
I really like the blinkers on. I like where you're going there, because there's not a lot of speed in that race. The Brad Cox horse should show speed, but you just never know. And I thought he could track it. There's a lot of things he could do from out there. So.
He's going to have to be prominent. I don't think the trip we saw from the winner in the first 2 is going to work. The mile, the short run, like I'm going to want him to be aggressive. So hopefully we'll have a sweat.
All right.
But Utah Beach here, 4-5. Like, if he wins, my pick 4 is out anyway. So
all right, I used them, so still, yeah. So I'm not tossing.
You did a pick 5 though and
Yeah.
got an 8-1 to start.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're
a little different.
I would want to be live too at that point.
I went down to 2, 7, and 3 here. So, but I didn't even feel comfortable with that. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Well, good luck everybody in the third here, and a 1.25 mile race, and we'll have to see how this plays. Oh, also
The
again,
Derby distance.
the 11 is my 51 to 1
right,
shot
yeah.
that I've played in the Super for.
And I bet the 4 to win.
I like it. 25 to 1. That's a really nice price. Should play him in the Super. I think that was just kind of a horse that, they say kind of is unexposed a little bit. It's like it's just hard to say, how good he is. I don't think he's run enough. There's some potential that he could improve. The 4, that is.
Right.
Just being lightly raced. I like they went 1.25 miles at Ellis. They tried to get 1.25 miles in the turf. I didn't love that it was a short field, and kind of. But it's hard to say. I didn't watch that replay, and sometimes those small fields get a little goofy. Those races. Now you got a few horses left to load. Get down here. Yeah, these 1.25 mile races are fun. Actually, in honor of our retired boy Mage, I'll put that on for the 1.25 mile race.
He won a 1.25 mile race, yeah.
He did. He looked good doing it too, didn't he? It's too bad we won't get to see him.
He didn't look
again.
good for my tickets, but it was. I mean, the top 2 ran winning races.
Yeah.
And the Derby's taken some lumps, with Mage retiring and 2 fills didn't make it out of the summer, but.
The Derby's great.
I think those 2, unfortunately it didn't work out long term, but those were worthy.
Yeah.
A talent level that.
Oh yeah, especially 2 fills. Wow, would have been great to watch. Him keep going. Yeah, I mean, Mage. I think he was the right horse that day. The pace set up for him. Things set up for him.
Sure.
And, yeah. Too bad we just didn't really get to see.
And I mean, it's a big ask. Now we've had 2 winners in the last 5 May Derbies that didn't race at 2, but neither of those horses ran on. Justify won the Triple Crown, but then was done. Mage didn't win again. So I mean, it takes a lot out of you, and there's a reason.
Yeah.
Apollo was a thing.
Yeah.
But I am over it now.
We also got to remember we won our Triple Crown Fantasy League with Mage and National Treasure on our draft.
And Skinner.
Yeah. And
we had another one in the
Jockey.
Castellano?
We had Castellano.
Oh, wow,
yeah.
That
was pretty cool out of the blue. It looks like they're having potentially problems loading somebody, maybe the 12. They're getting there. All right. And they're off.
The 1.25 miles, they don't have to hurry to get the gate out of the way.
Oh, yeah. All right. There's the 6.
There's this 30 to 1.
And the 2 is back. Oh, there's your 4. Okay. That's a good spot. I like that spot a lot.
Headstrong.
Yeah. Interestingly, too, you just kind of tell him it's taking him off the rail, just kind of sitting there in 5th, too wide. So I guess that way he can't get caught in trouble, but I would have liked to save the ground.
Do you know what a polyglot is?
Yes.
Are you one?
No. It's anti-American, right? Not against them. No, Americans are
I thought it was
typically
someone
not.
who spoke a lot of languages.
Yeah, as I say, the opposite of Americans is what I was going for. All right, let's see. So your 4's in a good spot. 48, though, that might be a little quick.
A little quick. Well, yeah, it's when the heels of 23 and
2's got horse, but look at they're coming. 7's back there. We've got Ramos. He's got horse. The 11. That's my 11. That's my bomber. He's going to come up the inside. Gabe Saez. And somehow the 1 squirted away to the lead. Joe Rocco, Brittany Russell. And here comes Utah Beach and the 7. 7, I would really like more than Utah Beach.
Same.
All right, come on. How about a 7-2?
Nope.
No, 2-7.
That's way too good.
2-7, and there's a fast Chad coming. Oh, he's too good. Yeah, he just took off. 2-5-3-7.
Made even money look like a gift.
Oh, and my 11 ran 5th.
Oh.
At
I was
71-1.
I was DFL.
Well,
30-1 then.
yeah, you take a shot with a price. There's nothing wrong with that. I did not see that 5 coming anywhere. And that's Axel. Ran a nice race. They came home pretty quick. What's that? They came home
24-3.
Yeah. They came home really quick.
That's all right.
So Telemo did a good job, saved a lot of ground. 2-5-3-7, 11. I just needed the 5 out of there. I had that crushed. Oh, it was 2-7.
Was the 7 bet?
Yeah,
Oh,
6-1, second
Yeah.
choice.
oh
So,
right, second year.
So cool. Well, hopefully people got through on Utah Beach, even money. What are you gonna do?
I mean, if you like, like
Yeah.
to me though is
I wish I would have liked it more. I didn't like it enough to get excited. So,
yeah. Oh well.
Yeah. Fast Chad. That was Axel and Mike McCarthy. City of Light synthetic route.
Wow.
Now, this is where it's tough. His first and third starts of his career were synthetic routes. He started a route, but the horse's speed figures are going up. They've gone up his last 4 races, now getting back to perhaps a even preferred surface. So 9-1.
And
I didn't look at him at all.
I picked second, but
Okay.
I didn't do anything. I mean,
Yeah.
I just kind of felt like, oh man, a horse I like a little is 30-1, and that's a win, and
Yeah, I like it.
that was it. Although I'm not sure I would have
Yeah.
what I could have done. I mean, I guess. Well, I'll say this: I didn't like Be Well at all. So even if I was thinking, oh, I could key Utah Beach with a couple prices like Fast Chad, and I wouldn't have gotten there with Be Well. So
yeah, I tried to do Be Well in the trifecta, but I didn't know Fast Chad. So, all right. So we talked about Sire moves. We talked about first timer report.
bathroom break.
The jockeys. Yeah, if you want to take a bathroom break, I'll throw up some more stats and we can look at race 4 and 5 here. And
race 4. So I picked the 11 pick. We'll see what the prices are. Maybe it goes 1 for 61 after this one, but I definitely, when I went through this, race 4 was my separate, like, I didn't know what to do. So.
All right, I'm going to pull up the
TTT
for a second. And so if you haven't seen the tracked trends tool on Horse Racing Nation, this is a really great tool. So you want to go to Horse Racing Nation under the betting tab. It says free track trends tool. And let me blow this up here. It'll be a lot easier to see. Got some ads there, of course. Trying to pay the bills. So it's just default into Gulfstream. You just want to put in Turfway Park. And you can take the date back as far as you want. It goes back to about 2019, I think, in the stats here. So you want to change it to all weather and sprints. And there's some other settings, but let's just start with that. And so if we look at the all-weather sprints at Turfway the last 4 years, what this breaks it down into groups of 3, 800 races. So we've got plenty of data, and we can see horses defined as early. So this is actually the first call on the lead. or within 1 length of the lead, 42% winners. And you can see it's pretty evenly distributed here between posts 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 and out. Average runners 9.73. So that's probably helping the 7+ a little bit. And then stalkers, pretty similar, but seems like even like a little better on stalking on the outside, but also 40% winners from stalkers. And then closers, not as much, 18% closers. Kind of evenly distributed from the inside to outside. Now, what you can also do is pull up an exact distance. So let's say the 6.5 distance. And then you can see, okay, if things change. And so this is where I think things change a little bit. Notice how now the inside's winning at 29%, 33 in the middle, 37 on the outside. So we've got a little bit of an outside slant helping some of the outside posts. And again, like on the stalkers, a little bit more on the outside, outside closers, things like that. So you can kind of see and get a feel for different tracks. You can also pull this type of data for, you know, the last week, last month, whatever you're looking to pull up. So let's look at routes. I'll take the exact distance off. So this would just be every route. And that's, you know, fairly even, but more so on the inside, and look like, so if you're inside speed, much better than being outside speed. And the rest is pretty even. But again, let's go to like an exact. Got a couple mile races today. And, you know, again, leaning a little bit more towards the inside at a mile, 37% on the inside, a little less on the outside. And again, if you're speed, definitely want to be on the inside versus the outside, things like that. So, you know, if you're kind of like jumping into different tracks, Gulfstream's starting, you know, this weekend, Fairgrounds has started up, you know, different tracks you may not be familiar with. It's just kind of a great check to see how the tracks are playing, because you definitely don't want to be going against the flow of the way that tracks are playing. It's a lot easier if you're not doing that. And then, you know, if exact distance, here's 5 furlongs. We were talking about that being a little bit of a unique distance. There we go. So that's highlighted green. 64% winning on the front. So obviously that's a lot different than the previous races we looked at. So in a 5 furlong synthetic race at Turfway, you want to be up near the front. All right, you come in. I think I'm losing my voice here, Ed, so I'm going to need you to come back. So let's see. Okay, so can you drop for a second?
Pizza. All right, so what are we looking at? TTT, Turfway Park. Wow. Speed demons in the 5 furlong races. I was very eager to see what the board had in store for this race, so I'm going to pull that up in a moment here. There we go. There it is. Beautiful. All right. Number 1, 5-2. I'm on the 11, 7-1. Definitely think that's the right price to compensate for the outside post. Number 2 is 5-2. That is Scott's top pick. I've mentioned him several times. I am against, however. I definitely don't want 5-2. I'm not sure if he would either, or anyone who was on that horse. 5-1 on the morning line, so a little bit of a cut there with the scratches. The one was, I believe, the morning line favorite at 3-1, so 5-2 makes more sense there. I mean, this is we've seen some pretty logical results. The opening race of the meet had the biggest price so far of the 3, but certainly that one made sense. And then we had the top 2 choices made up the exacta in the second race, and then the potentially biggest favorite on the card tonight was definitely much the best. So far nothing where you would say, oh, there's Turfway being random again. But the prices, I think, have been good. Certainly I thought the second race, despite having the top 2 choices, was a much better payout than the opening leg that had a bomb in third and fourth and a third price $20 winner on top. So, pretty clear examples, even this Dime Super with the 6-5 winning, almost 7-5, $40 and change. And I think the 5 was the third choice. So payouts are good, which we know would be the case. This to me, though, was a race. Again, the short price horses absolutely can win. I wish I could tell you, man, who could possibly think the 2 is in the mix here? Obviously, very much a threat. Debuted on synthetic, then stretched out on turf at Belterra. Now keeps the 2 turns back to synthetic. I get it, but at 5-2, it's just too light. I'm speaking to the Deuce Thalberg. And then on the rail, punctuality, Alex Achard, who I thought had a great meet at Turfway last year. This one is stretching out. Has never been on synthetic. I'm a Union Rags guy on dirt. His turf numbers are abominable. And I'm not sure which tab of Mark's many that are open has the Sire stats. But, at these prices, I'm looking at ways to throw both of them out and play around with some of the other numbers. So, yeah, I don't like the 1 and 2 here. Now the pick 6 starts, 20-cent minimum, 15% takeout. It is a jackpot, 90% net to the nightly payout. 10% goes to the jackpot. So effective takeout, 23.5%. Not bad. Certainly best among the jackpot wagers. I do look at it. I'm not completely anti-jackpot. I will play. Especially at Churchill or Turfway with these rules at 23.5% effective. Tonight is not going to be one of those nights. But if this were a situation where, you could, in my mind, confidently start out beating the top 2 choices or playing against them with a reasonable chance of beating them, and had some other opinions along the way that I wanted to take advantage of in this pool, this would be a great way to start. Unfortunately, I don't have those other opinions. So from a horizontal standpoint, maybe pick 3, since I do like the 12 in the next. But vertically looking at this board is definitely where I'm going to want to be. Peeping the chat. Yes, easy fun money. Completely agree. Vertical is very logical in races 1, 2, and 3. More important than that, there's a plate for you, Mark. More important than that, though, logical and yet overlaid prices. Now, in my case, maybe I wouldn't say that about race 3 because I didn't like Utah Beach at 6-5, almost 7-5. But if you did, and he was your single, there's probably a case to be made where you maybe had a better opportunity just zeroing in on race 3 and playing him vertically than what you ended up getting, hooking him up in race 2 with one of the logicals. So that to me, Mark, when we started, open the meet, so to speak, and the opportunities at Turfway, poker players talk about game selection. For Turfway, wager selection is so important.
Right.
If for whatever reason you got to the 3 in race 3 with Utah Beach, that was a great dime super for a 6-5 winning.
Yeah.
Whereas now in a pick 4 situation, you had 7-2 second choice, almost 7-5, overwhelming favorite, universal single for many, and then we'll see what happens in the next 2. But I don't really think so far horizontally Utah Beach has had the pizzazz that maybe he did vertically in race 3. So part of me is telling myself that since I missed, I was against him. But just, thinking back of ways you could have played and extracted, value out of the situation, it does seem like tonight vertically that the payouts are generous. What was the pick 3 though?
$80 for 50 cents.
Oh, that's pretty stout.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not bad.
No, that's really good. So,
you're speechless for once.
Maybe vertically still okay, but I mean, hearing that, I mean, that's great.
I'm still alive.
I didn't see what the will pays were.
Yeah.
In race 3 to the others, but like that, that's an example. If the 4, my top pick at 30-1, he may have been $900.
Astronomical. Yep, $1,100.
Oh, yeah. For 50 cents.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you just have to think about it, handicapping ourselves or for everybody. Like these races are so tough, and so when you start multiplying, 12 horses to the next leg of 12, or the exacta with 11, and the trifecta with 10, it's just so tough. And so, so like the 7 was the second choice in the last race, or one of the second choices. The pick 3 to the 7 would have been $230. But even an $80 pick 3 to an even money shot, it's pretty
simple. With no separators.
Yeah.
I mean, in the opening leg, okay, maybe you singled the 7-5 and you're out.
I think the first leg was a separator.
Ish, I got. I mean, the favorite
$18.
As it turns out, I mean, that favorite was 7-5. That was the price Utah Beach was. So, who are you live to?
A few. Before I get to that, though, I think what I wanted to mention is I think the challenge, right, if you're playing these pick 5s, is how do you have the capital to go after these, right? And so, no, I mean, seriously, like, let's just say you want a single. Let's say most people, you don't have the money to really play a pick 5, even at 50 cents. So you're like, I have to make one single, and so the obvious thing is you would want to single like one of the favorites and pick one. Well, that's not even easy, but you would have led to the first race or the third race, right?
Yep.
But and so maybe a lot of people lean into one of those two. I would say one option is to play narrow, especially the first leg, and then come back with a pick 4. So maybe you take a really skinny shot in leg 1, and so then maybe you just single the first leg. So it's an inexpensive pick 5 by comparison. And you can always play back to pick 4. Is one option.
And at Turfway, the pick 5 is 15%. The pick 4 is 14%.
Yeah,
and that's rare. Usually, the pick 4 is 20% plus, and the pick 5 is the good bet. And it makes a lot of sense in those situations to okay, the pick 5.
No, they're fantastic bets. The second option I was going to say is go in with somebody, to give you a little bit more capital to take the shots, because they're so fun and these payoffs are so big, whether it's pick 3, 4, or 5. So that's another option. Just to kind of do it that way. I think, one other thing you can do, it doesn't really work so well at Turfway, but sometimes I've had success, is you can single the last leg. And if you get to that last leg, there's 4 or 5 payouts here, but you can also, do some backups. These 12-horse fields, that doesn't really work so well.
And at Turfway with the 9 race cards, and you sort of alluded to this, with the 8 race cards, you get 2 races that are part of both. But that 5th race is, if you're a pick 5 player, like that 5th race is the race.
Yeah.
It's, ends one and starts the other.
So I've got 2-4 over 1-6-11 here. This race I thought was incredibly tough. And then I've got 5 in the last, depending.
Now,
6-8-12.
Matthew Bickey, who very accomplished player, I believe qualified.
I know Matt. He's great.
I believe he qualified for the NHC, or maybe his second qualification this past weekend at Hawthorne. He likes the 8, which I have nowhere. And I did ask, so hopefully he'll weigh in with what he likes, but and certainly not looking to talk anyone off a horse at Turfway ever. Certainly not one at 22-1. But any thought of what he may have seen there?
I mean, this is a tough race. There's some potential for pace. I was pretty iffy on the pace here. I thought there was some potential that for pace. I kind of like this 4 as a price to kind of potentially get out, and he's getting bet down from 12-1 to 6-1. The 1 and the 2 figure, I didn't love the Union Rags on the 1, but
I mentioned that when you were stepped away. Was man. I just don't get these Union Rags that do anything but route on the dirt. That's their game for sure.
I mean,
when you're trained by Eric Foster, you're going to run a Turfway. I get it. That's why they're here.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I've got half the field here, and I don't feel great about it.
Yeah. I mean, the 11's clicked down a little bit, so I'm not alone there. Charlie Whiskey, I'm a little surprised. Hannah Lay, another name from Horseshoe Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly in my experience playing that circuit this year, definitely nothing negative to say about the position she puts her horses in, and the horses has never been on scent, but Classic Empire doesn't dissuade me from that. So a little surprised to see this one as chilly as he is.
Charlie Whiskey.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think the horse fits is just one of so many that fit here.
That's in my now defunct pick 4. I did use the 1 and 2 and seeing how they were bet, how they're bet here. I'm kind of wishing I had maybe had a second ticket that was willing to let Utah Beach win.
Mm-hmm.
And like the 3 and 6 are horses at these prices. Like I think you're still going to do okay, even with Utah Beach. So I kind of wish I had juggled it a little better than I did, rather than just kind of cavemaning it against Utah Beach. But we'll come back with a pick 3 for sure. I mean, after you told me that paid $80 for 50 cents for the first 3, I'm thinking, man, I mean, just beating the 1 and 2 here would be enough to.
Yeah. And how do we go full screen here?
I'm
looking at my settings here. Just trying to get the graphics so we're not covering up some of the graphics. Sorry, not used to that.
I would actually do that and this one. And
okay. So here were the Sire stats for race 4. Yeah, there's the
Classic
Union
Empire is great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you talked about Union Rags, yeah.
No,
that's great.
And his turf is very similar.
Yeah. And the 10 is nice with Declaration of War. Some good stats. None of them too bad though. and then the 2 is just 0 for 5, so it's hard to make too much of that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Yeah, I mean, these these races are so tough. The 10, yeah, I didn't look at the 10 a whole lot. It's just kind of off a long layoff, but sort of unproven here. Outside post, and then yeah, I mean the 3 fits probably as well as.
Are you playing the pick 6?
No, I never play the pick 6 in Turfway because it's so tough, right? And it's like, yeah.
And you're live in the pick 5.
Oh, live in pick 5, so yeah.
And I don't know what your thought is. You follow along. I always feel like if your pick 3 to start off is more than 100 to 1, you're in good. Like that to me is.
Yeah, I usually look.
You got a shot at some.
When the 50 cent is getting close to getting north of $50, and
right,
get to 100. Yeah, it's a good territory.
Now, if you have $1,000 pick 3, then
those are crazy. Well, then you're just praying for it to come in. No, you don't even care who's finishing up, right? At that point, you're just like, let me get through these last 2 legs,
right?
So, and then the 9, I don't know. Did you like this 9?
I did use the 9.
This is the triple bug against Summer Poly for trainer Ricky Short. Indiana bred, been running up at Indiana. The numbers fit. It's.
Yeah, I thought. I mean, basically just the horse head numbers that at 8 to 1.
Yeah.
Like, you're getting 10 pounds, so.
Yeah, and only 6 to 1.
Yeah, I may have wanted a little more than that, but
right.
I mean, there's 11 horses in the race. I think once you get, especially from like a pick 3 standpoint, you get past the. Let's see if they're taking similar money in the double.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at here. Pull it up.
So this is interesting. In starting this leg, the 11 actually has the most money on it in the double pool.
Okay. So the 11-8 is our favorite double. There's only 8,000 in the double. I guess that'll jump up a little bit as we go forward.
And it looks like, well, the 12 is favored with the 1 and 2. Yeah, I mean that's an example too. Like 6 to 1 on the line.
Mm-hmm.
It might play like that. Maybe 9 to 2, 4 to 1.
Which horse?
In the multis, the 12 and the 5th.
Okay.
But now when turn the page to the 5th, it's the first leg of the pick 5, and everyone sees the 12 is 5 to 2.
Right. Then the price is gone.
Right. Well, that premium is gone.
The premium
is
gone. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I agree. I think if you're looking at something that you think is going to be bet down, to the extent you can get it in the pick 3 or the double, it's just so much better, right? You get the full price, if you will, instead of the haircut, instead of the discount. But yeah, let's see. The 6 is the first timer for Brendan Walsh, and the next not getting really any play in the double. After the 8, so the 12 is really the second choice in the double. So they're playing the 8 and then the 12. After that, sort of the 5 and 9. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Let's see.
Now, one critic, I'm a big Sire stats guy, long even before here, which has all the great analytics, but Bristnet information has long included that. Adam Bricker, which certainly appreciate him watching, and I know he's not alone in feeling this way, so hopefully he doesn't mind me singling him out since he made the comment. Not a fan of using Sire stats once horses have run. which I get. I feel like, I'm always of the thought on the extremes, it's actionable.
Mhm.
And with Union Rags, like to me, that is just
Yeah.
obviously the horse can win, but to me, it's not about, I'm tossing this horse because it's Union Rags. It's
Right.
I'm tossing this horse because it's first time Union Rags and it's the favorite in a competitive field.
Right.
Now, if it were, the fourth choice, 8-1 on the line, and I had my money in, I'd feel great about it. Like I said, I'm kind of seeing it take this kind of action. I hadn't used it all, or maybe used on the tickets against Utah Beach, and then had another plan
Right.
with the bigger prices here. But certainly see where Adam's coming from.
Did we just lose the 7?
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
we did.
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, these races are so tough. You just kind of want to get through them. And
Yeah, or a reason to find the price. But yeah, we did lose a 7 who
yeah, tougher.
was actually a horse I was a little concerned about. Of the ones I actively did not use that I gave a look to.
Mm-hmm.
If I were still alive, I'd be really concerned about the 8 because someone as sharp as Matthew calling out a 17-1.
Mm-hmm.
Is always going to make me raise an eyebrow. But
yeah, I don't know. I kind of kept coming back to this 4. Thought if it could get out and didn't get a pressured trip. The 1 and 2, I think I'll just kind of sit back and sit the trip.
Now the ones too. The people are spite betting it to prove me wrong after that screed.
Spite betting it to prove you wrong. I don't know about that.
He's the win favorite as you see.
Mm-hmm.
In the exacta pool, he actually has as much money in the top spot there as he does to win. So he's pretty uniformly being bet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where I'm gonna have to just go against is the exacta.
All right. Yeah, and we have back to the Sire moves. There's a negative Sire move on the 9, negative Sire move on the 5. 5 scratch. Slight negative Sire move on the 4 that I was talking about, and then a negative move on the 1 with the Union Rags we've been talking about. So, all right. Well, good luck everybody in this 4th leg, and see this.
I'll take a 3-8.
3-8. All right.
Although, would you be out? Did you use the 3?
No,
I
I'm
don't wanna
looking
root
for the
against your
4,
Pick 5.
but there's so many ways this can go. This is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see the 4 on the lead alone.
Yeah.
Jane Elliott, we'll see how far. Wow, and look at the bet down, 4-1. It wasn't 4-1 2 minutes ago, was it?
I see off odds of 7.
Yeah.
So yeah, no.
That's the computer vote of confidence where they bet speed at the end.
And I
right?
will say, it had to be wide a little bit, but I definitely like that from the outside post. Tyler didn't try to get cute and think, I'm the tuck mid-pack.
Yeah.
You just got to, especially what we've seen. Like, if you have a clear run and have horse late, if you're in the open, you might come with it. So,
yeah.
Yeah, 4 went from 7-1 to 4-1 last flash.
Right. Well,
comparably did not take that kind of money in the double or exacta pool.
all right, here's the move on the outside by the 9. And so that's the 48-2, for this level. I don't know. Is that quick? Is it not quick? Okay, well, James got some horse with the 4. And wow, the 11's done.
11's done.
Yeah, so the 4, it's got to hold off the 9 is really the key here. And that's going to be iffy. 2's got some horse. 4-2. I just want to hold off this 9. Come on.
Uh-oh, Bicky.
Well, that's the big bomber coming.
Oh, we got it. No. Oh.
2-8.
Man. Guy's sharp, huh?
Yeah, that was a nice call.
Yeah, those are the ones you don't have to win. Well, you feel good about it. It's a little different than the bankroll, I guess. But
Yeah.
wow, longest shot on the board. Get a run like that.
Yeah, that was nice. Well, I'm not dead though. I had the 2-4 were my A's, so.
I mean, I didn't see what the pick 3 will pays were, but in the doubles, the 2 was way behind the 1 in terms of the money they took. So
Yeah.
that was
Bill Collins, he's done well at Turfway, 27% showing here. This was the Sire that was 0 for 5 on synthetic route, so didn't want to get too stressed about that. A 3-year-old.
That board went nuts. The 3.
Yeah.
It's very rare that the horse who floated up as much as it did, which in this case definitely the 2. The 2 had 14% of the double pool and ended up with just 11% of the win pool. And usually when they float up like that,
yeah, another win for Machado too.
Wow, the X-Man.
Yeah, he's done well. He's got his stats here somewhere, but let's see where stats on. No, that's the wrong one. I mean, he's definitely done well at Turfway on the synthetic. Let's see.
And that was a 110-to-1 exacta.
Yeah, no, that was with that 8 was huge. So Machado these last 2 years, 14% winners at Turfway, impact plus 27, sprinting 16% winners, positive impact of plus 40%, routing 12% winners plus impact of 15%. So one of those stakes up in Saratoga, he won the Birdstone.
Who was that?
Juan Machado. He was fired up when Andrew got the video. But I think an underrated rider for sure.
But both Shap and Caitlin had the deuce 6-1, and then for those monitoring the chat, and I'm glad I amplified it, even though it was to say, what does he like about this horse? Yeah. But when someone that you know knows how to find a winner says, hey, what about this 8 at 21-1? Yeah. And then you had the 4. So, I mean,
yeah,
within reach. And this try, I would think is going to be.
Oh, boy. Yeah. Well, we had a couple of scratches. So I think it was a 9-horse field, maybe. So that's going to.
And that does save the 11 stat from adding another loser then. But yeah, great pick, Matthew, and others. And I did, Thalberg at 6-1. Unfortunately, that was the vagaries of how the race got that late. You didn't know you were going to get 6-1. When I talked about wanting to be against it 5-2, that 6-1 a much better price than 5-2. So those who connected on this one, you're going to do all right. 2-1 favorite, never really in contention, loomed up, and then didn't have anything when the running needed to start. So did get that part right, but that's about it. Oh man, 8:28 for the try. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
4th choice, longest shot on the board, 3rd choice. That's good.
So pick 3, only $37 there.
Yeah, that's an example. Unfortunately, in the pick 3 pool, Bobber played more like the favorite.
Yeah,
he was in other pools and not.
Well, look at the one was the favorite though. The one was $17.
Yeah,
but yeah, he played a strong second choice. Well, his co-second choice was the 11. All right, so let's see. We should have some payouts here.
Pick 5 payouts? No, I guess all of them. Right?
Yeah.
Pick 4 entries.
Wow, these are big.
What are you live to?
Let's see. 6, 8, 12, 5, 11. 6. So the Walsh firster is paying large, but yeah, he's pretty chilly. And then
You say 6, 8.
6, 8,
11,
12, 5, 6, 8, 11, 12. No. Yeah, the 11. The 11 is paying crazy amounts.
We've already got the pizza.
Wow. The 11 is the Vino Rosso, second time starter.
Yeah, I don't hate the 11.
That's crazy. You know, that was one of those ones where, did you ever hear Paul Matisse was doing a podcast with, I think it was with Chris Larmy, and he said his rule is if he doesn't make the bet, is he going to hate himself if it comes in? And that was one of those, like, I like these other horses better. You know, I thought the couple of these other horses look tough in here, and but it's like, this Vino Rosso, the early Sire stats are good. It's a nice closer. It's, you know, I'm like, I would be mad if this horse won.
Right.
So that's what I think. So.
No, I think that's a good thing to think about. I, somewhat adjacent to that, I try to think, am I going to be happy if this comes in?
Yeah.
And that's my way of like, why am I going 5 deep and using a 3 to 5? Because if you're deep, you're like, you don't want the odds on to win.
Right.
So why even play? Either don't play the bet or structure it differently or whatever. So
right.
Yeah, it's good to. I mean, those are to me psychological tricks of
right.
You know, making hopefully positive EV plays.
Right.
But it takes a lot.
Right. And so, yeah, the 11 is Christopher Davis, who I know is a good trainer, but I'm not very familiar with him. Right. He's done decently on this circuit, seems like. I don't know. And then Mike Maker has the 9 in here, Butterfly Queen, but it was in Omaha Beach. And Omaha Beach, this would be the first synthetic route for Omaha Beach. So no stats there, but Omaha Beach are, I think it was 0 for 13 on a turf route. So that, to me, I don't like to go that way, but when there's nothing else to go on, I look at a turf route and a synthetic route a little somewhere, and it's like a sustained, sustained run. Yeah, the dirt stats were fine; they weren't like amazing or anything. So, and maybe I just wasn't really into the horse, and I was looking for another reason to go against it. But that was something there. And then the 7 I didn't use. That's the Rusty Arnold horse. It's an Uncle Mo. It's coming off a race in the slop where it kind of broke slow and came on. So I think the 7 has a shot here, as well as some of the others. Getting some play. And then I didn't know what to do with the 2 from Mark Cassie, Winsome Beauty by Upstart. There's some breeding, some fast workouts. Horse just kind of hasn't put it all together yet.
Yeah, I mean, maybe synthetic is what it takes. And we saw earlier, is it Utah Beach? Was that his first synthetic, or the mile and a quarter, especially? Not granted, much shorter price than the 2 is going to be, but man, that last race, which it was his dirt debut, ended up on a sealed sloppy track, but was 35 to 1. Like, I mean, a Cassie that had taken money in previous starts just gets dismissed that badly.
Yeah.
Shows up here, like, I mean, 7 to 1 though. I mean, that to me is talking a little bit.
Another Machado horse too. So okay, so we're probably going to wrap up after this race. So why don't we talk about our late pick 5? I know you had some plays in the late double.
Well, yeah, race 8 to me. Bring it up here. Number 5, Forgotten Peace, which Ramos is up. Which talked about earlier, a jockey with, really good numbers, period. But synthetic among the top by HRN Impact, had a great Horseshoe Indianapolis meet. Tim Burton ships this one in, Presque Downs. Had a question on social earlier, again, asking about shippers. Presque actually not great. I think part of that is they do get overbet because people see the synthetic.
Yeah.
Maybe get a little bullish, and Turfway Racing is class to class. 10 claimer Turfway, I would expect to be a little better than a Presque. So maybe that hasn't been calibrated for. All that said, horse does have a win at Turfway, more than his fair share of success on synthetic in general. Trainer has good numbers with this type of move, this type of third off the layoff, and then figures to be forwardly placed. So anytime I like a horse, you almost know the numbers are going to add up. So that kind of goes without saying.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I see Ramos getting them out, who won on this horse at Turfway, for a trainer who's excelled with this move in the past, it just adds up to me that this horse fits. So Forgotten Pieces is my single. And then in the last race, who is the
Egyptian Candy and Sierra Sky are
Yeah.
the two big favorites.
and I'm against Sierra Sky.
I am as well.
Definitely like Egyptian Candy. Did not pick because I thought that others at a bigger price intrigued. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try to beat Sierra Sky. Checks a lot of boxes that take money. Cassie, who's the trainer of the two here, Corrales. But this is another example of the number power among those we've seen just isn't there. Now synthetic maybe wakes him up. I shouldn't even say wakes him up. Maybe runs his race and that's fine. But at that price, from the outside, I just thought that was an opportunity to be against. So willing to lean on the favorite in the 8th against the favorite in the 9th is kind of my strategy.
Okay, I like that. And
then I'm spreading in the other 3 legs. So
in the 9th, I was on Egyptian Candy as well against Sierra Sky. I thought a couple of these unproven horses were interesting. The Mike Maker horse, Tazawako, didn't really run in the slop at Churchill, but had really good works over synthetic. Now he's going on to synthetic. I played it last time, so I'm just going to stay with it. And then I was interested in Say Cheese a little bit as a price, the 9 as a big price. Maybe try Jane Elliott one more time. And then the Cherie DeVoe Firster, the rail, hard spun, I'm a little interested, so I'm going to probably use that one as a B.
Yeah, and Say Cheese, we get the City of Light routing.
Yep.
Ramos again, who I've extolled the virtues of. That to me feels like a horse who isn't actually going to be 12-1, but if you're dialed in race 5 or race 6 on him, she'll play that way.
So and then just let's go back. So race 1, we had the pace horses wilted at the end, and we had a deep closer. Race 2, Crispy Rice was the favorite, was a closer, but the 8 was closing up the inside.
Yeah, top 2 choices.
Race 3, we had Utah Beach as a big favorite, set mid-pack, dominated, closing. And then race 4, with the 4 go out, try to attempt to hang on, did not. And then the 2 outclosed.
The big price 8.
Yeah, and the 8. So the 2 and the 8 closed, and so we've gone for closer, mid pack, get them on a quarter and closer.
Yeah, and well, in that last race, the pace did a little more than maybe we saw earlier. But
so could we get a Vino Rosso closer here in the 5th? Is it Rosso? Vino Rosso?
I think it's Rosso.
To
quote Larry Colmus.
Oh yeah, There you go.
Scott gives you a,
All right. Puncher's chance.
yeah.
All right.
I picked 6th.
Okay. I'll take it. All right. And then I thought, one of the interesting tough races is race 6, right? It's just not a quality field. 5,000 maiden claiming. You've got a Wesley Ward first timer, the 7 Redneck Agenda, 5-2 morning line, the 2 morning line favorite Beautiful Temple. I kind of lean towards, horse has run well in synthetic, but ran very poorly the last time. Takes a class drop. Did you see anything else possible in the 6th or
In the 6th,
more of a spread race?
I was 3, 10, 11.
Okay, Cairo winner.
And then depending on what you wanted to do with the 7 is a 4-star.
Yeah, I didn't really like it, but and then the 11 I thought was a little interesting. We already had one Belterra horse win tonight, right?
Yeah.
Man, these are just they're not good
We
horses.
had to answer Ron's question, not flatter, Esterman.
Yeah.
Mark is live in the pick 5. So definitely a rooting interest here with almost half the field.
Almost, we gotta just take one of them, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Although the 11 would be nice. That would be, yeah. I mean, that just shows you how crazy some of these payouts can get here. With what we have, an 8-1, and the rest is pretty
9-1, 7-2, 7-5. We'll round up to make it sound better. 6-1, but in the Maltese played a little less.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, day to day, again, most other circuits, you look at those, and I mean, and then let's say a 20-1 to close it, which the 11 is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. To me, that'd be a $12,000 number.
Yeah.
Not what you're looking at.
Right.
So,
right.
And that's definitely part of the fun here. Still have to
Right.
connect, but the prices just balloon things.
I think one of the
So
big challenges is,
and you'll have consos.
and oh yeah, that's true. I mean, I love the consoles when these pick 5s get, I know some people are against them. You're not a fan, but when they get crazy, right? And it pays $20,000 and you've got 4 or 5, I love getting $150 back twice or 3 times or whatever, kind of thing. So
Yeah,
I feel like
it's a
I would rather
consolation.
give that up. I'll give up a little bit on the winner because it's not very often you have a 20. It's like, okay, you would have gotten 21,000 instead of 20 or whatever,
Right.
Kind of deal. But to each his own, But I was say, one of the other things we're going to talk about, Red, and these races are so tough. You kind of talked about it, singling, but like knowing which races to spread in, right? Which races are just like, because it's no fun to spread 6 deep and then have the favorite win, and it's
Right.
also no fun to go 5 deep and miss. And so it's such a challenge. Is there anything that you look at in particular to try to decide which races that are going extra deep in, maybe?
I think the sort of the throw out principle applies even when you're really narrow. Like I don't want to look at a race and think, oh, well, nine of the 10 can beat me, but I'm still going to single the 6-5 in a 10-horse field. I want to feel comfortable that man, I think this horse is a legit even money shot, and he actually will be even money or 6-5, which in Maltese, that to me is enough of an overlay. But at the same time, also want to think in those situations, okay, the 5-2 really is a 4-1, and the 6-1 really is a 10-1, and you're seeing other underlays that you wouldn't want to use, even as a win bet if that were your only option. And then I do like when you can just completely cross out a 30-1. Like to me, that's
there's value in that.
Yeah, even at 30-1, that's 3% of the pool. And if you're able to take 3 of those out, well, that's 9%, which is an 11-1 shot that you're eliminating basically.
Right.
Conversely, though, there are situations where, I get it. This horse is even money. I kind of like Utah Beach, which I was wrong about. He ran like an even money for sure, but you're like, that horse really should be 2-1. It's an underlay to me, and you can get maybe excited about a 20-1 in that point.
Right.
That doesn't mean you love the 20-1,
Right.
but in aggregate, if you're in a situation where you can go deep and know you have a shot against a 6-5,
right,
and use a few 12, 15, 20-1 horses. I mean, if you have 4 20-1s that you feel good about, which is rare, but at Turfway, it probably happens more often than not. But 4 20-1s is 20%,
right,
which is 4-1. So, you're basically giving yourself a 4-1 shot to advance and blow up a sequence or
Right.
close a sequence. But that's only one piece of the puzzle. You certainly can't build a whole ticket around using 4 20-1s without some other opinion.
right.
But I do like when you're able to just say, okay, this 30-1 is hopeless.
Well, yeah, like when there are races where you can't eliminate anything,
No,
it's like almost
I thought
ridiculous.
that 4th rate, which that's a great. Like I didn't get it why Matthew liked the 20-1, but acknowledging that you and I both were like, man, this 4th race, it's the toughest on the card.
Right.
Like those are the ones where I do like getting input.
Yeah.
And to me, it's not about, and I didn't end up betting the 8 or anything. Like you didn't convince me into that situation, but
right.
Him liking a horse like that in that race did give me a little more confidence to just completely dismiss the 1 at 2-1.
Right.
Whereas there are some races where, even though you're not in love with the 2-1, when the people you respect like Matt or you or Scott or whoever you're listening to, and yourself, of course, can't make a case for really any other long shot. That's where it's like, wow, I just got to pass the race.
Right.
So.
Right. So
pick 5 wise. I actually think I'm going to wait for the pick 4.
Okay.
Partly because now this horse is 7-2, and I, kind of took my shot at 6-1.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to root against you making a big score.
Oh, thank you.
Which isn't necessarily EV to play that way, but I just don't have a strong enough opinion.
Right.
I'm going to look at the board and maybe vertically. Let's see, who else did I like a little bit? Like the 6 at 11-1, maybe is someone I'll fool around with. Who do you have? So,
okay,
2 birds, but
yeah. So 2 things just real quick that we're talking about is closers, the first 4 races, or a mid pack and 3 closers.
Right.
Also, we're talking about some of the jockeys we weren't familiar with, but Summer Polly ran 4th on a long shot in race 2 at 16-1, and 4th in that last race at like 8 or 9-1 on the 9 horse. So not bad for a 10-pound bug that we hadn't heard of 2 hours ago.
Not too bad. Yeah, we'll pay attention to Mount. And he I didn't like it all today. He only has 2 mounts, but he was the top jockey in that synthetic chart we had, Gadiel, who Dougie Sal is representing. It's going to probably take a while for him to get to know the players and get some mounts, but I have a ton of respect for the way Doug's able to look at races, and think it'll only be a matter of time before he sneaks Gadiel up on a live one at a big price. So Summer certainly caught our eye today. Axel, who already has caught eyes and takes money, but definitely one I'm keen to use, and then Gadiel. Just watch for that name. Don't be deterred if you kind of like, what's this horse at 20-1 and he's on it. That's the time to strike.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. And is he on anything later today?
He's on something day. I keep wanting to say Ryan Day, but that's just my OSU PTSD.
Day.
Something day later.
Okay.
And he was on a huge bomb earlier.
Okay.
Catherine likes the 2 here, who I do not have, and or do you? So,
I do not, but I definitely
9-1.
I'm definitely afraid of the 2. Definitely, you can see that there's a lot going on there. Some good breeding and other things. Good family, good trainer. Switch to synthetic.
I will encourage everyone to we're going to sign off after this race. We'll wrap it up after they actually run it, but please do like and subscribe. And when
Absolutely.
you do, you'll get notified that we're back tomorrow.
That's right.
So
yeah, this has been fun. So yeah,
Back at
looking
it
forward
tomorrow.
to it. And then we'll have more information with the last races.
yeah,
One other thing I was going to say is sometimes in these scenarios, the meet's young, but we've seen, I don't want to make too much of it, but we've seen closers win the last 4 races. So as I'm putting together this pick 5 or pick 4 for the late, it's like, maybe it's not the worst idea to throw out the speed and cut down the ticket, take a couple extra long shot prices as closers and say, just maybe if this goes a certain way, I could get alive to something, and so sometimes it's like that's the zig instead of zag kind of thing, right? Speaking of which, like the next race, you've got you got a Ward first timer, you've got a horse that sort of like runs for 5 furlongs and then finishes up on fumes. So there's some things that are interesting there. Man, these races are so tough. It's hard to know which way to go. Yeah, it's like you put in your picks and then you see like what it costs and you're like, oh, okay, wait a second, like that doesn't work, right? It's like, okay.
Well, and you and I don't use the exact template that Chris laid out with the ABC, 2 Bs can win whatever, but I do like to compartmentalize and then press,
right?
And then you like map it out how you like to play and line up your opinions, and it's like, oh my, hundreds of dollars more than you'd want to spend.
Oh, I know.
And then it's like, okay, do I press less? Do I move out of a column? And then you think about keeping a 21 versus a favorite. So, it's
what I just did to press is took the favorite closer in the Egyptian Candy Horse as a single. So kind of took a little bit wider with some of those closers in these next 3 races that I maybe wouldn't have included. But let's see how we are
off.
See how the closers and speed. Wow, that's a bunch group right there. See how everybody does. The 10. Who's the 10? Well, the 12's just kind of got a lot of horse kind of sitting on the outside there. The 10 is a Tom Drury second-time starter that ran pretty well.
Yeah,
mid-pack at
Churchill. That's a tight hold on the 12.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the 12.
The 5 took the late money.
Some of the jockeys here.
Oh,
the Bedcocks. Yeah, I think that made sense. Let's see. The 12 is Tyler Connor. The 10 is Edgar Morales again. 5 coming up the rail is Corrales. And that was was he the leading rider last year?
Yes.
Yeah. He's got a lot of horse. And
Cassie.
2. There's the 2. Did not have the 2. Let's see what Corrales said for the end. That 2's got a lot of horse. He's going right by. Nice call on the 2.
Not by me. I wisely laid off the pick 5, I guess is about all I can say.
So congrats to anyone who had the
Catherine.
2. 14,750 on the pick 5. 840 on the pick 4. They came off the pace again.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey.
And so, like we were talking about 10 was out there. The 12 looked like he had a lot of horse, and
I would even say in a lot of the cases with the off the pit, like the last move is one.
There's the 12 finishing up the track. Not up the track, but mid-pack. The last move is winning. Yeah.
Yeah. Which sometimes like the first move getting a jump. This stretch isn't super long.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see if that holds tomorrow. But
yeah. Well, then the two, we'll have to watch the trip, but you can get a nice inside trip right from the, and Kraus was coming up the inside with the 5. Well, there's the 10, so the speed held on for 3rd.
But
that's my 11 photo for 4th.
Didn't embarrass at 29-1. I would say 2 races in a row. The Union Rags horse was 2-1 and was in play.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly as it played out, and then I didn't get the 8 there as the favorite.
Yeah,
that surprised me. Time Form also projected to be on the lead and wasn't. So I mean, who knows why? Yeah. Clearly not good enough, but maybe didn't even get to run its race. But
right.
Another example of
number 2-1.
The X-Man.
Yeah, that's 3 out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah, that's strong. And he beat Corrales.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
No, I didn't like either of those 2 on top.
Yeah, I used the 5 as a B. He wasn't one of my top 3 choices, but I kind of forced myself to use him. I figured he's in a good spot. All right, well, I'm looking at some consos. Beats.
Roll it back into the pick 4.
Yeah, beats nothing.
We'll be looking to be back tomorrow at 5:30.
Yeah, this is great. Thanks everybody for joining us. Keep playing Turfway and keep the comments coming, and
thank you, KTDF, for being a part of it, helping make this happen, and the purses happen. There's certainly the reason
it's
for
great.
that.
Kentucky racing is so strong, and I think we're going to see we're not even going to see the best yet of Turfway. I mean, it's just going to get stronger and stronger, I think, for a while here. But hopefully everybody pick some winners, so you can tell us about it in the chat tomorrow.
All right. Until then.
All right. Thanks, everybody.